this chalk has a function, what I mean by that is to say that it alone can do what it does best. It's designed for that purpose, and among all things, this does it best. If that's what it does it best, then that's its particular function. See, that's its function. If that's its function, then it's likely that this was made for that particular purpose. That's what I mean by purpose. That's what I mean, therefore, by function. All right, what is it? If something alone can do something, that alone can do it, and it does it best, then that's its function. Now, necessarily, we're highlighting the word best. Eyes. All right, the eyes. Would you not agree the eyes see? Nothing else can see other than the eye. It alone can do it. Nothing else can do it. You can't get the ears to see. Therefore, we can say the primary function of the eyes is to see, since it alone can do it. And so far as we know, since it alone can do it, it is its primary function. It's designed or made for that purpose. Now, since there are many things that can do something, now let's take the classic example. If I want to cut some vines, I can use a chisel, I can rip it apart with my hands, I can use a saw, I can do many things. Many things can function for that purpose, but not the way we're using it, because when we're saying function, we mean that if only it alone can do it and does it best. That's what we mean by function. Therefore, let me turn around and say, would you not agree? Of the many things that might be able to sever a vine, the pruning knife can do it best because it's designed for that purpose. That's its function. Since it can do it best, it's designed for that particular purpose. Therefore, everything that functions this way has a particular excellence. Excellence. It has an excellence. It can achieve it. So if it has a function, it has its own particular excellence. Equally well, would you agree? Now, the excellence of a pruning knife is only effective to the degree which it's sharpened properly. If it gets dull, rusty, and things of that nature, then it can't function with that excellence, and therefore there's a natural defect or vice for every excellence. Because when it doesn't function with its excellence, but functions with its corresponding defect, then it does whatever it does badly, then that's its vice. So now let's take a look at three ideas. Would you not agree that to get here tonight, you had to consider getting here. You had to have a plan. You had to command yourself to do it. And you only decided to get here because you thought it would benefit you in some way. Now, these three things, planned, command, care, is in man. Something in the very nature of man. We plan, variety of plans. We're willing to command ourselves to take on one of those plans only if we think it's really going to do us some good. That is to say, we care for ourselves, we benefit. Now, take another one. There means, therefore, there's something in man that does that. What shall we say does that? In the Greek world, that's called soul or psyche. Then it alone, if the psyche alone can plan, care, command, then that's its particular function. That's what it does best. That's its excellence. Take the next part. What is it in us that pays attention to particular things? Seeks to control so that we can achieve that goal of paying attention and deliberating. Again, would you not agree? Those are the particular characteristics of the mind, and when it does its job and functions ideally, then a particular excellence of the mind emerges. Oh. If the particular excellence of the mind functions, then it allows us to decide on some direction. But now look here, what direction? What direction? How do you decide the direction? It's easy for particular things. It's easy in business. It's easy on vacations, planning all kinds of things. But how do you determine one's highest venture, highest ideal? Then when you're after this, then you're into something quite important to yourself and to everything you engage in. Why? Because how do you know you can do it? What's the way to get it? Can you really do it? Now, if one's highest ideal is to gain a glimpse or an insight into the nature of ultimate reality, and to the degree that you devote yourself to that goal and decide then that it's important to do that as purely as possible, therefore you're going to function with the mind, then you're going to care, you're going to plan, you're going to command what's best for you. You're going to believe, do you not, that this is going to benefit you, that's going to be the assumption that's going to benefit you. Well, you don't know it's going to benefit you. The whole thing may be folly. The whole thing may be foolish to engage in such an effort. So what are the ways in which we can deal with this? Now, let me go over one. Every dialectic is a one-many problem. Every dialectic is a one-many problem. You can ask, what's the nature of an automobile, and you can break it down into the different kinds of automobiles. You can talk about soap, what's the nature of soap, you can break it up into different kinds of soaps. So in the same way, if you're going to pursue this goal of gaining an insight into ultimate reality, I suspect there are only 4 ways you can go, and maybe a 4.5. You can use some substance, alcohol, drugs, coffee, I don't know, any number of drugs, LSD, whatever it might be. You can use some method. You can be the recipient of grace, or it can be you and you alone. And there's another category, dreams. And you notice I put it into 2 places. I put it into the realm of grace as well as you and you alone. So it's curious. In my own mind, I think it's a separate category, even though it's you dreaming. And it's also a vow, you see, because after all, you can't determine what dream you're going to get. So in that respect, it's a kind of grace. So therefore, I'll call that 4 and possibly a 5th.
You and you alone, I'm not sure I understand that. No, you're just discussing it.
Yeah. If it's possible, you see, for a person spontaneously to have the experience, no cause, no sense of the divine as an agent, being the recipient, then I can't use the idea of grace or thou.
Oh, I see, okay.
Right. Now, now look here. Are these good categories? These good categories. Now wait, I'll tell you why.
Well, grace, sometimes people think of as something happens spontaneous.
That's true.
We call that grace.
That's true.
Terminology.
But you have to then be willing to say that there must be some cause of the experience when you assign grace to it, that you've been granted a gift, a dispensation, or something like that.